Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, listening audience. My name is RJ. Welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. I haven't done one of these in a hot minute. I'm excited. Um,
Yeah, same here actually.
it's been a while. I'm rusty,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll be completely out of practice together, so that's great.
It's delightful.
Uh, speaking of together, I am joined today by the fantastic, wonderful, magnificent.
Hi, I'm Hex. That's all you ain't getting. No, we're rusty. Fuck it. This is minimal effort now.
Minimal effort. Okay, all right. Um, and we're playing two fucking idiots today.
Yeah.
One of them is not doing so hot. The other one is not doing so hot for an entirely different reason. Um, yeah. So,
It
um,
it's sad boy hours by God.
it is indeed sad boy hours. So, it's that time of the week where normally whereupon these two idiots would, go for a fucking walk around town.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's a couple days after a certain incident with one of them, and the other one, his leg is fucking killing him. So there's that familiar kind of tunk tunk of someone throwing pebbles at your window,
Mm-hmm.
Matthias.
Yep. And usually, usually Matthias is very punctual about because he's got an extremely good sense of time. Uh, yeah, no, usually it's only one pebble, maybe two, and then the window opens. This time it's like four, five, and then you see a form peeking out. Uh, and Matthias is looks surprised to see you, Decimal. Like he didn't expect it. And then you very clearly see the "oh god, it's today" reaction. Uh when he opens the window. Finally to actually be like, "Oh god, right, so I he doesn't sound great."
Hmm. All right then. By letting me in, we can stay inside today.
I um I are you sure? And he kind of glances up at the ceiling because, well, we're in network. And he knows network
Network,
is.
network will deal. Just let me in.
Oh, okay. And he retreats from the window like he's going to go down to, the front door to let you in.
I need to double check how this works and
Yeah,
then roll a thing.
yeah.
This is okay. It's just speed. That's fine. Um, so I need this. That's pretty fucking good. All right. That's
Mm-hmm.
a casual dirty 30.
Fuck me. Okay, yeah.
even with the detriment here, Decimal uh like moves back a little bit and then jogs up, plants his good leg, like leans on his cane, plants his good leg on the wall, and then kicks off, hooks his cane onto the windowsill, and then pulls himself up.
Yeah. And you get a.
After
Yeah.
after having hammer spaced his hat, because he's done this song and dance before.
Yep. And Matthias is hand on his door to leave his room when he hears the cane, and then he glances back surprised because what? Oh oh well, all right, okay. And he's awkwardly fiddling with his sleeves. Yeah. Now that you are in his room, hey, Decimal, this kid looks like shit. Uh, very clearly, like, he's got like huge bags under his eyes. Uh, he's kind of huddled in on himself. Uh, wearing that big old, like, wearing one of the biggest sweaters he can find, and he's wearing a hat. Notably, there's no braid.
Decimal takes all this in, and as he's taking this in, Matthias can see, he's you know, when he grabbed hold of the windowsill, he pushed himself up such that he could get a knee up onto the windowsill itself.
Mm-hmm.
Kane, still just kind of hooked there,
Yeah.
bracing himself with his hands. His busted leg is very specifically being held just enough away from the windowsill that it doesn't brush against it.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes you in, takes the room in, and goes, "Yeah, we're definitely staying inside today." Unhooks his cane, feeds it through the window, sticks it down, and then leans on it as he clambers inside.
Yeah, alright. And Matthias, with his fucking passive of fucking 24, we'll see that. Uh, and he. Not quite head tilt, but he regards and does just quietly ask, Is your leg alright?
Not the greatest day with it, no.
His brain immediately is just, and you came here anyway?
Yes?
You do get a head tilt there. He's just. Why? And he's puzzling. There's.
Well.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go first.
I'd say there's some advanced maths going on there.
Well, I finally finished making something, and I wanted to pass you yours. I have to roll hyperspace for this. It's gonna be really funny if he fucks it up.
He pulls out his hat and Network steals it.
He did not fuck up, unfortunately.
Aw.
No. What he pulls out is this little wooden kind of triangular based pyramid shape.
Mm-hmm.
This tetrahedron shape, and
Yeah.
it's very obviously hand whittled. It's polished, it's smooth, but the faces are all flat, but the edges the edges kind of vary just a little bit in how tight they are.
Yeah.
And on each face, there's a symbol. Go ahead and roll. I guess investigation for this. I suppose.
Okay. He's got it. Yeah, he's got pretty good investigation. And that's okay. That's a 15 on the dice. So that is a 21.
Nice. Okay. So one of the faces has a pair of antlers.
Mm-hmm.
One of them has a pair of wings. One of them has a bouquet of flowers. And one of them has a little pocket watch.
Aww. Matthias is taking it in. You see him, like, he does the thing where he's when he's looking at something and like puzzling it out, where it's head goes one way, then the other, then back, and he's turning it over in his hands, and then he looks up at Decimal. You made this for me?
Not just for you. There's 3 others. Roll it if you please.
Kind of blinks, but he does. He goes over to his desk, and gives it a little roll. Yeah.
It rolls such that the face with the pocket watch
Mm-hmm.
is down.
Mm-hmm.
There's it has an effect. It activates a magical effect. And Matthias can feel it activating this effect on him. It doesn't feel, malicious. It's pretty benign. Pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
But, if he wants to roll I don't remember if clerics can identify or not, or if he wants to roll
He
Arcana
can't.
or use detect magic or something.
He can't. He has to roll Arcana.
Oh, right. I
Yeah.
forgot that's that school. Okay.
Yeah. Every identify and like detecting spell is divination.
Yeah, they're all divination.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so if he wants to roll roll Arcana,
that was cocked. So hang on, let me try again. Okay,
you
well,
can you can you can use it if you want. You know what it does.
I do know what it does, and I am because he does not have Arcana. That actually, I think, helped. So that's
Yeah, I sure hope it does.
well, it made it a 14 as opposed to a 10.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So it's a little bit of it's a little bit of fucking what school did
You
I
said it
make
was
it? I think it's a
transmutation.
conjure. Yeah, transmutation. It's a little bit of transmutation magic. And having expended the effect, it kind of makes sense you get this. It makes you a little bit more likely to do something. Not a big effect, but it gives you just a small edge.
He so he rolls it like curiously. He's still studying this, like waiting to see what will happen because clearly, like he doesn't freak out from the magic because Decimal has given him such instruction that he can easily infer, okay, something's gonna happen. But he still just does kind of like do that like jump of like and then again he looks at the dice, his eyes are kind of wide, and then he looks at Decimal and back to the dice, and then he just goes, I what on what?
Oh, good, it does work.
You I you did all of it?
Yes. Is that so hard to believe?
I he is very clearly trying to not just blurt out the first thing that came to his mind, which is, but you don't do magic.
I think Decimal can still read it in his face, and he kind of, rolls one shoulder lackadaisically and goes, I don't know, but I am a demigod, and I can, how you say, give magic to others, case in fucking point. Gestures kind of vaguely at the rest of Network. Toward where Krager would be.
Yeah.
I had originally designed these a different way, but that way wouldn't work for you, so I redesigned them. I think, I suppose.
You 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 changed it to hmm?
Yes. I am capable of some small magics myself, one of which being, and he will cast guidance on himself. A little bit of a shape of the odds, but tries to cast it on Matthias and it fizzles.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't even land; it just fizzles. And Matthias nods because, yeah, this has been an established thing of, like, divination magic does not work on him at all, and he can't use a single bit of it. And he kind of, like, again, there's those, it's the I am studying a puzzle and trying to figure it out. And eventually he just says, how did you manage that? And it's not in a, like, I mean, it is kind of a little bit in a, how did you specifically, but it's also a, how did you manage to make that work?
A lot of trial and error.
With minimal explosion, I do hope.
This isn't an offensive magic, so no. Well, it's not intended to be an offensive magic. My first attempt had the wrong medium.
You get an eyebrow raise at that.
Showy off, son of a bitch. That's the higher one. Not great, but not terrible. I can add a D4 to this because he still got that active.
He has guidance on himself.
27, sleight of hand, like, spins his wrist, and a fan of cards appear in his hand before he spins his wrist again and they vanish.
Mm-hmm.
They're a weapon. For me. But my attempts to turn them into something else were, shall we say, lackluster. I can't grant a boon with them like a certain other can.
He kind of thinks at that a moment and then nods, like, okay, I think I understand. He's still very clearly, like, trying to wrap his head around the one who does, like, demigod he may be, Decimal never showed interest in magic prior to this.
No,
and still very much kind of does not, as, like, absolutely does the whole magical bullshit, like, phrase, I assume. So this is surprising and also fascinating for Matthias. Of, one, like, learning the schools is easy enough to figure out, but then, like, learning how to change basically an effect to make a different, like, learning how to change a school to make it have a different effect requires a deeper understanding, and that's kind of fascinating to him.
I think Decimal takes all this in and, you know, like, trying to give himself some space to come up with the words. Limps on over to the desk, picks up the dice, cups it in his hands for a moment, and then puts it back down, and the magic has been recharged.
Blink, blink.
It'll recharge on its own. Takes about a day. But I can refuel it.
I mean... And he he picks up the dice. This is... and then in true 8 charisma fashion, a revelation kind of hits him, and he goes, your leg, please, sit, have a seat. I,
I think at this point the door opens and a glittery monstrosity
it isn't even from
of
the
a
door.
beanbag. Oh, it's not from. Where's it come from then?
It's just there suddenly. Like, they're both facing one direction. There's a rustle and two thump, like, not two, because one beanbag is already in the room, but there's a rustle and a thump. And then there is a pink monstrosity of a beanbag. It's it's sparkly, but it's not like, I mean, there is some glitter, but it's like clearly the fabric is just sparkly. And Matthias immediately turns to the sound and then kind of ducks his head into his sweater because, oh, okay.
Decimal looks at it, and there's just this expression of pure distaste. And then he goes, I think I'd rather stand.
You, you can take the other one. It's all right. Or a chair if that would be better for your leg.
A chair would likely be better, yes.
He Matthias does nod and like his desk, he, steps aside, lets Decimal actually sit at his desk. And he takes position up in the beanbag chair, which is for him like fucking massive.
Yeah, Decimal sits down and stretches out his bad leg very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Props his cane up to one side so he can, recline a little bit.
Yep.
Gestures at Matthias. Sure you... Well, I can read it on your face, so ask away.
Uh, um, I... And he kind of... He had been planning for something else, and then Decimal says this, and now he's caught off guard. Like, I... You... And he's like turning the dice over in his fingers, fidgeting with it, basically. This is... I... Thank you, first. Um... I don't... You, I know this was not probably the easiest thing to make work with, and he just kind of gestures at all of himself. How? How? Or do you know how? You did that?
He leans back a bit and looks away and just goes, how familiar are you with the concept of chaos theory?
Let's find out. Oh shit, dice, come back. That's a 3. So
That's a 3.
Not very. He shakes his head. The books I was allowed to read were, very limited.
Right. Well, to make a very complex subject into a very simple little soundbite, chaos theory is the scientific study of underlying patterns in chaotic systems. You may have heard the phrase, a butterfly flaps its wings and something happens.
He nods at that.
That's chaos theory. The idea that a singular flap of a butterfly's wings could affect something much larger than itself.
And he
The most
kind of...
common example.
Oh, go ahead.
The
He...
most common example is a butterfly flapping its wings, moving enough of an air current to generate a larger current, and then a larger current, and then eventually a hurricane.
Not quite a ripple effect, but similar.
Similar.
And he nods like, yeah, I get that, yeah.
When I use my version of this ability, I'm not doing that. I'm manipulating odds. Taking a little bit of a split-second glance into the future. This is that. It is chaos theory in object form. The equivalent, I suppose, of flicking over a domino and knocking down a tower.
He's nodding along like, yeah, he gets this. Yeah, okay.
So, instead of divining a future where I am more successful, you are instead transforming a present. Hence why it is not divination, but transmutation.
Like, Huh. That's honestly brilliant.
I try.
I didn't mean it like... I didn't mean it
That,
as...
that was a joke, don't worry.
Oh, okay, right. He had started to get very pink in the face, like, I didn't... I, thank you again, I, He doesn't seem... he's just kind of... He's still fidgeting with the dice. He doesn't seem to know what to do with it otherwise, but he's just, like... He looks so touched, man.
Decimal watches him fidget for a moment, and then steeples his hands and goes, I believe I might ask a question now.
Oh, right, of course.
Decimal, that's the worst fucking way you could ask this question.
Oh boy!
He gestures at the beanie and goes, so is this a particular fashion statement, or?
And he immediately kind of, like, hunches in, and says, I didn't realize how cold it felt without all my hair.
Common problem.
Do what?
He said common problem.
Oh, common problem. He kind of nods like, it's, and he does eventually, like, it's one of those, it's one thing to say it's short and it's another to, like, show, and he does eventually, like, slide the beanie off, and yeah, that's,
What are we talking here? Are we going like cue ball? Are we going like chia pet? What's the damage here?
So Matthias has had had a bit of a, well, he had the trope of the hair chop happened, so
Mm-hmm.
he went at his head with a pair of shears, and has not been able to clean it up. So it's as close as he can get it with shears, which is,
So some of it is super short, others is like a couple inches long.
others are like, yeah, about an inch long in places. It's not great, but it's short. It's clear he just wanted short.
Hmm.
And he just, I it's I didn't expect it to be so cold. So Miss Lynn loaned me this, and it's, yeah, until I get, until it grows out a little more.
Understandable.
And Decimal, I need to stress, it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a calculating look
Mm-hmm.
in Decimal's eye right now. And he kind of head tilted just a touch. Um, gestures with one hand and goes, "Would you like me to even it out a little bit?"
And again, you get that surprised, like, blink, blink. Uh, huh? What?
Surely that's not that surprising. I do my own hair. Gestures at his, which is, like close cropped, close shaved sides, and then the fancy like flick, the flick at the front.
Yeah. Again, Decimal, Matthias looks at you surprised. Uh, More in a he didn't consider that, of like, you. Your hair requires regular maintenance?
Well, I spawned in Firuma, so I'm rather more attuned to real kind rules than some other tunes. And he's very much not looking at Matthias as he said this.
He isn't, but Matthias can very much, you know, get, like, based on everything he knows about Decimal, he goes, ah, right. I huh. I didn't I didn't realize that was, huh. Just filing that away for new thing he learned about tunes today? Question mark? He's learning.
Some tunes have a set design, they don't require much maintenance. Other tunes, rather more realistic or some such, have designs that do require maintenance. The Frankenali's have such, although I
There's a
believe
glance.
Craigrie's an exception.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a glance to the wall where Lynn and Craigery's room is.
It always catches me off guard that he's Frankenali.
Is it? Hmm. Is it really that surprising?
How shocked would you be if I said yes?
I don't know anymore.
That's a fair answer. There are certain stereotypes, conventions that come along with being a certain kind of tune.
He nods because he gets that, yeah.
Frankenali's tend to be somewhat more realistic in look. UPAans tend to be, fairly simplistic in design, blocks of color and line art and very little else. Hausen are Well, you live in a town full of them. I'm sure you've seen them by this point.
He nods because he's very aware of, Jacques and most of
Yeah,
the
how
housing.
hasn't be?
Yeah.
Warren and Rubber Hose are similar but disparate. Rubber Hose are. Um, they take anatomy to be more of a guideline than a rule.
He's thinking back of, like, he's clearly recalling his admittedly very limited experiences with the variety of tunes, and, like, yeah, it's one of those of, like, calling on past things, and okay, I think I know what you're referring to. I think I have a reference for that. And he's nodding along, like, yeah, he can see, he can get this. He understands what you're saying. So
And then Warren. I suppose you could call Warren the midpoint between Frank and Ali and Rubber Hose.
the
They
thought.
tend to have some exaggeration, but not nearly to the extent of Rubber Hose tunes.
Mm.
But they're less realistic than Frank and Ali are.
And he nods. Like, he's smart and wise enough to understand that that's really kind of a generalization, but for just a basic quick rundown, it works. Like,
Yeah.
he gets that, and so he kind of accepts that, and doesn't, like, he accepts that. Like, yeah, okay, that I'm getting what you pick. I'm getting it, and I can, file this in with what minimal knowledge that I have. So yeah.
Yes. So, in general terms, there are certain um, points that those specific tunes hit. At first, I had believed Gregory to be Rubber Hose.
But he's Frank and Alley.
He is.
Hmm. And he kind of is just like, I can see that. Yeah, he based on everything he knows, he's like, that, yeah, I guess that does track. He is again, just that kind of look to their wall, like, yeah, that's Gregory, who probably is sneezing because people are talking about him.
Yeah, just a sneezing fit 3 rooms over.
Yeah.
God, RJ, am so curious as to what kind of tune Matthias thinks Decimal is. Decimal would never fucking ask.
Yeah. No, he's pretty much firmly believing Frank and Alley. Like, but he does eventually nod, and he just goes, okay, hmm, that's all good to know, actually. Hmm. And then he's looking at Decimal, and there is clearly an image, like, in his head now. Uh, for the listening audience, he is now imagining Decimal having forgotten to cut his hair at some point, so it's longer. Of just like, what the fuck does this guy look like with long hair? And then the thought clearly amuses him a little bit.
Gets an eyebrow raise.
uh, it, it's, no, and he shakes his head, like, no, don't worry about it. It's nothing. Because he very much, in his head, it's very much an emo haircut.
I'm so tempted to roll insight and see if he puts two and two together.
Uh-huh. It's not a high roll for Matthias.
Yeah, fuck it. Well, that's a 16 on the dice, so that's like 28.
Yeah, no, Matthias cannot physically beat that.
Decimal kind of like sighs and shakes his head a little bit, not in like a you fucking donkey kind of way, but in the like heard this before. And he goes, "You've seen me with long hair. That's the longest my hair gets."
He kind of thinks back. He is thinking back because he knows when he saw Decimal with long hair. How long was it?
So at that point, Decimal hadn't been able to cut it for a few weeks, and it wasn't super long actually. The upward flick was long enough that it was starting to actually like curl down under its own weight.
Mm-hmm.
And the sides were of a length that most people would consider normal, as opposed to being a shave.
Yeah. Okay.
That's about the longest that it gets. It's most visible at the back of his neck because it actually like brushes his collar.
Yeah. He gets a ducktail.
Yeah.
So it's one of I have that with my fucking ass length hair. I still have a ducktail. But Matthias almost looks a little like there's the conflicting of, oh, that's right, bad thought memory, but then also the disappointment of, oh, that's it. That's like disappointing. And then still the amused of, haha, long emo hair. So it's quite a bit of a like slight face journey he's taking, but eventually he just says, so it changes, just not drastically, and then kind of makes sense. That's yeah. How? And then he thinks a minute. I, I, and then he goes to run a hand through his hair, and it's one of those, it's still a new thing because the hand is a little bit above his head. With the muscle memory of where all that fucking hair used to sit. And he goes, if you'd like to, I guess,
Decimal stands up, scoots the desk chair out into the middle of the room a little bit, and gestures for Matthias to sit down.
Oh, what, here? You have?
I carry everything I own on me.
Right. Okay. That right is a very much a, oh, right, I forgot. As opposed
Decimal
to
just
yeah,
casually saying that as if it's not one of the most fucking tragic things he's ever said, yeah.
it really is, but also Matthias has clearly clocked that is something like that Decimal does. He clearly knew this to a degree, and it just kind of slips by. And so he just, right, and stands up, pads over to the chair, and has a seat.
Alright, there's a couple ways I can do this. I can cut it all down to the length of the shortest hair, and it can grow in evenly. Or, I can try and style it so it looks fairly even, but keep it as long as I can. And we will have to trim it several times as it grows back.
Short. Short.
Everything down to the shortest?
Nod. Nod, nod.
Alright. Roll hammer space again. He does not fuck up.
Hey!
He pulls out, oh god, what the fuck is it called? The weapon that Billy Ray Sanguine uses, the
Straight
razor.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he pulls out one of those.
Matthias
And he pulls out
is pointedly I should stress here, Matthias is like perched in the chair, and is very much just kind of like staring at his lap. So, you know.
This will be easier if you sit back a bit.
Oh, right. Sorry. And he does kind of like I don't know how you can do this, but he does eventually he like slides back in the chair, but it's more just like his feet push him back and he moves nothing otherwise.
Are you fully comfortable with me doing this?
And he actually thinks a minute, which is actually pretty good progress from just immediately like agreeing.
Yeah.
So he thinks a minute. And eventually he says, I trust you. He does.
Oh,
go ahead.
There's a pause in which it's very obvious Decimal is biting back a "Wow, you have terrible taste" comment.
Ha! He's still like he's tense, but it's he's not shaking. And he's doing his best to sit still and not like wiggle around or move. And he's just I don't not knives make me nervous.
Understandable.
And he just so that and he's like his gaze is still pointedly in his lap. Just I don't look at it, therefore it can't hurt me.
All right. Would you prefer warning or no?
What warning?
All right. Network, can I get a bowl of warm water and a towel, please?
And there's I'm assuming
I feel like I should roll persuasion.
Yeah. Cuz on
He
one
said
hand,
please.
he said please, but also
That's not bad.
okay.
It's not bad.
What is it?
It's dirty 20.
Yeah, okay. I think with that in mind, there's probably like like a little scuttle thump of a bowl of water like being slid into the room, and then a towel just thwaps Decimal in the face.
Thank you, Network. I'm gonna put this over your shoulders, right? Just to catch any hair.
He nods.
Drapes it over the shoulders.
Yeah.
It's not like a big towel. It's more of like like a hand towel, I guess.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
enough to cover the shoulders to catch any
Yeah.
cut hair.
Yeah.
And then walks over, leans on his cane to pick up the bowl of water, walks back to the desk, puts the water on the desk, and then I had to roll hammer space again. Where'd my D10 go? Fuck.
Did you fuck up?
Alright. I fucked up. You fucked up.
Hey!
Where's this fumble chart? This is gonna happen sooner or later.
Yeah.
Da 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 dee da da dee da da da. There we go. 14.
What'd you get? What'd you get?
He pulls out a red silk ribbon, which he kind of sighs and puts to one side. That's a 3, so that's another fail.
Yeah.
That's a 10.
Okay.
It pulls out a star emblem, like the Taroka star. Sets that to one side. That's another fail. Pulls out a porcelain masquerade mask. At this point, you can start to hear him like quietly grumbling as he digs. That's another fucking one as he digs through his pockets. That's a pocket knife, which immediately goes back in its hammer space. That's a 7. Okay, we have a success. He just wanted a small rag, like a washcloth. That's all he wanted.
No, you get the goofs.
Get the goofs.
Which, if it like he starts to grumble, probably around like the first one, Matthias kind of ear flick, listen. Second one, slight turn. Third one, he giggle. He like, it's very clear he's trying hard not to laugh at you.
Decimal just kind of sighs with a very put-upon expression and goes, "Fucking hate the rule of funny." Shuffles all that crap back into his hammer space. He is quietly glad that it happened in as far as it got Matthias to relax a little bit.
Yes.
Pauses for a second because he's still wearing gloves. And then it's like, it's not worth risking cutting Matthias' hands to keep from getting my gloves wet. And, you know, wets the washcloth and goes, okay, I'm going to rub this over your hair so it's, you know, easy to cut.
Okay. Okay. He has never had a haircut. He does not know what to expect.
I'd spritz you, but I don't have a spray bottle, so this is the next best thing.
Shuffling of, like, the shuffling of boards, which you can only imagine as Network aiming a spray bottle at Decimal.
Do not dare. I will throw it back at you. I will cut you.
Sad creaking walls and another thwap of a towel.
Decimal just fucking sighs again, and starts rubbing the washcloth over Matthias' head, taking care over where the cut was. I don't know how healed that would be at this point. If it's been being healed with magic or
yeah, it's likely he probably hasn't. Just because of like no one else has probably offered yet, just because, you know, it's been a very raw couple of days, so it is a cut still. But it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was bad because it was on the scalp, and of course that was, you know, bleed a lot. But
bleed
it wasn't
like a bitch, yeah.
But it wasn't, you know. It's like a spot on his head, basically.
Yeah, he still goes a little careful. He doesn't want to like rub off a scab or anything like that.
Yeah. Understandable.
And when shit's all nice and moist, I need my other d6, my other d20 for this.
Ayo.
Sleight of hand. Oh, that's good. That's very good. It's 29. Very steady hands, which is an impressive feat for him, given everything.
Yeah.
Goes, I'm about to start trimming it down.
He gets a nod. And Matthias does get a little more tense, like, with that, but he doesn't, you know, it's more of a bracing, not, yeah.
Yep. Decimal, very, very surprisingly gently for him, takes hold of Matthias' head just to keep it still, and then starts very smooth strokes running along the grain of Matthias' head.
Yeah.
Shaving it all down. wiping off the razor
Mm-hmm.
every few swipes,
He's
making sure it's all still nice and moist and moisturized and whatnot.
Yep. He's just sitting there quietly, and it's even with the warning, he still does, and Decimal probably is prepared for that. He still kind of like not jumps, but like jolts just a tiny bit before settling. Uh, but then as he goes along, he starts to. I know again, you don't need to roll for this because it's he's got a -1. He doesn't have any. Uh, he starts to relax gradually.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah.
Decimal does like one bit, turns the chair a little bit to get a better angle, does another bit, chair adjustment, another bit. It takes a minute because he's being very careful about it, and he's pausing to give warnings and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's definitely spending a lot more care on this than he does his own hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but eventually it's all shaved down, pretty close to the head, and resettled rather than the disorganized hat hair mess he had before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just, like cleans off the razor and is like, do you want to dry your head or should I?
And Matthias reaches up. I can I can do it.
Decimal will busy himself with cleaning up the water.
Yep.
Then
Matthias takes the towel off his shoulders and is like just kind of pulls it over his head. And he kind of he once Decimal is done, he does like not necessarily sag, but just all of that tension he finally like lets out, and he's uh and he tentatively like he pulls the towel up, dries his head, and then he carefully like runs a hand over his head to feel.
I think at this point we are properly in like the first stage of growth of a chia pet in terms of like length.
Yeah, it's got that good fuzz texture,
Yeah.
which I personally fucking love. It's like as short as you can get it.
Yep.
One
Good
moment.
fuzz.
Stealing my money, you stealing my money, you stealing my money.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, Hex, you've muted yourself.
I know, one moment.
I steal
Oh.
this cat.
If you'll bring me my phone, I will sell you money. Okay.
Well, in this unexpected break, in this FPS, I would
Sorry.
like to remind everyone to be very careful when handling a blade. Leave it to
Yes.
the professionals.
Yes. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Accidentally used the wrong card when buying something, so I have to repay my husband.
Oof.
Yeah. Anyway, now I get to edit this out and his introduction, because he came in and got picked up on the recording. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, where were we? I lost the plot there with that.
They were cleaning up afterward.
Right, thank you. Matthias is just kind of like sitting in the chair, like he's doing that thing where it's just like feeling his head, like just rubbing the fuzz, feeling that good texture. And he's kind of transfixed in it.
Decimal like sneaks a glance and then smirks a little bit.
Yeah, he's clearly like mystified, like, oh, this is actually nice. He likes this.
I think Decimal like finishes cleaning up, and then Matthias is still transfixed. Decimal sits back down and starts idly shuffling his cards.
When Decimal sits, Matthias does like, it's that like springing up of like, right, here, sorry, and offering the chair back because Decimal's leg is probably still hurting and he's just stood cutting his hair, so.
Yep. Does like Matthias have an actual bed, or is it just
Yes,
kind of a
no,
nest?
he does have a bed. It is a bit of a nest, but it is a bed.
Yeah, Jess will probably just accept that on the edge of that. So he gets up, gets back in the chair.
Yep, Matthias right back into that beanbag. Becoming small ball.
Places.
Yep, becoming small ball once more, but like now he's not like, I mean, he is kind of still huddled in, but it's, you know, that's just, he can't sit in a straight way. Like it's impossible. So
He's not straight. Yeah.
he has to sit as in the most homosexual way possible on any surface. It's a rule. And so he is curled in this chair and gives one more like, runs his hand over his hair one more time before he does finally like, he replaces the hat, but when he does it, it's new texture, and so he puts the hat on and then he rubs the hat over his head a second, like feeling the texture because, oh, that's new.
Textured TM.
Texture. Yeah. Me projecting all of how I felt when I got my hair buzzed? No. It's an experience.
Yeah, no, as a newly side shape, yeah.
Yeah. And he again again he just kind of, there's that moment of pause where he's clearly trying to figure out what to say, can't, and just settles on, thank you.
Decimal makes a very vague gesture that like roughly translates to, but of course.
And he Tyus kind of nods, and it's not like an awkward like, what do I say now silence. It's more just he nods and he's content. He reaches back down to, you know, take up the dice and is running it along his finger, like running his fingers along the sides. Can I ask?
Well, that entirely depends on what you're asking.
He kind of holds up the die. Who are the others? I recognize my pocket watch and, well, again, the antlers. He looks at Craigery.
I don't know if you would have met the other two, actually.
He has met Hugh. Decimal was the one who told Hugh to bring cookies if he ever went to meet Matthias, so.
Yeah. No, I would have met Hugh. He's one. And Marge, my other brother, is the last.
And he turns them, looking at both the bouquet and the wings, and clearly he's like, one is one is the other. Eventually settles on what he knows of Hugh is wings, which leaves March as the bouquet. And he kind of nods a bit, and then has a realization. Wait, does that mean that you... Because, he knows that March, Hugh, and Craigery are all Decimal's brothers. So he is making a admittedly wrong, but logical conclusion here. Decimal, do you pick up on that?
No. No, he doesn't.
The one time where being a little, like, hard with words and Decimal doesn't get what he's trying to say. Damn.
Oh my god. That's just a kind of silent eyebrow raise, head tilt combo.
Well, I mean, they're... And he basically just... You've said they're your brothers, and you've included me on with them. Is that enough, Decimal?
It is. And go ahead and roll insight yourself.
Oh boy! That's a 17 on the dice, which makes that... What's your insight? Oh, right.
Hi.
It is. That's a 26.
Nice. It's fucking hysterical that 26 doesn't even beat Decimal's passive deception by 5.
That's
Like, my god.
incredible.
Yeah, so Decimal looks pensive.
Mm-hmm.
He very distinctly doesn't answer.
How do you feel about that, Matthias?
I will give you the 26. He's not intentionally withholding an answer.
Mm-hmm.
He can't seem to come up with one.
Yeah. Which means the answer isn't yes. But it's also... It's also not no? Question mark? Like... He knows... He knows about the whole found family thing, and he's recognizing that Decimal is freely admitting who he considers his family. So and so now he's like puzzling, like, again, it's that, like, trying to puzzle out the unspoken bits, and there's a lot there, and he's just kind of like, and he eventually kind of, I don't mean, I didn't mean to, well, I guess I did, I was more just, well,
You were curious.
yes, and he does go a little pink, just like, yes, yes.
It's not a bad trade. You at least ask before you can ask. I don't bother with that.
You kind of get a, that's true, not like, head incline.
Yeah.
Before he stops himself.
I mean, He's not wrong. He does not bother to ask.
Yeah.
Matthias does.
Yeah.
That's what separates curiosity from nosiness.
Yeah. It's just Matthias does the like, yeah, that's fair, like inclined nod, and then again, like turning more pink because that was probably a little rude. Sorry.
I said it. I don't know why you're getting embarrassed.
Mm. He doesn't know how to word good, Decimal. Don't make him explain his thoughts.
Decimal's absolutely gonna make him explain his thoughts. There is a grin amongst this expression of what? It's like
Please.
mild incredulity mixed with amusement.
I most people tend to not appreciate when you affirm bad traits, undesired, socially not accepted one.
Most people don't like to consider themselves to not be a good person. I personally don't give a shit.
And again, it's that's true nod because yeah, Decimal tends to not give a shit.
I'm not a good person. I would the first to admit that. I don't care about a lot of things people usually tend to care about. I have had to learn by example what a morally good person looks like, and I don't have any fucking time for that. I don't care to partake in that personally.
Matthias does actually snort at that a little bit. Like, yeah, okay.
There are things that I don't do because I know that Hugh or Martel or Craigery or yourself would not like them. Not for any other particular reason.
He nods like Decimal. He is nodding, not because this is news or but he understands it, but he's nodding because yeah, he knows that. Like this is the yeah, I know nod. He clearly knows this thing about you.
Suffice it to say, I doubt there's anything that you could say to me that I've not already thought. So.
I. All right. That's he can't. What else can you say to that? Just all right.
Yeah. Decimal is very self-aware, even if he chooses to ignore it most of the time.
He is, and we love to see it.
He's chaotic neutral, not chaotic stupid.
God. Okay. God. So, but Matthias does eventually like, okay. I. I was about to say but he would actually realize that because his follow-up question would have probably been, so then why, like, so then why me? But now I'm wondering if he actually would ask that because again, he knows Decimal. Would he?
Would he?
I'm trying to think of if he would ask.
Oh fucking whoa.
What? So, He kind of thinks a minute of like, if you aren't. He thinks a moment, and then he just says, "Why me then?"
There's a pause. Decimal looks thoughtful again. And then he goes, well, it was never going to be then. And it was never going to be Asclepius. It was never going to be Gibbs. And it was never going to be Memoir. Myself and Gregory are already taken, so is Hugh. So that leaves you.
He already taken.
Already on the dice.
Oh, and he kind of like, right, and he accepts that. I don't know what this emotion is he's feeling, but he does at least accept that, because
he sure is feeling a way about it.
he is feeling a way, and that explanation leaves him feeling not satisfied, question mark, but he also knows, like, he knows Decimal, so it's like he yeah,
It's about the best answer he's gonna get.
yeah, it's one of those. Decimal's probably like, he doesn't think Decimal's intentionally withholding information, but there's clearly something more there, and he's still a polite boy. He's not going to push. So he just kind of accepts that, and does eventually, like, the dice goes into the pocket of the big hoodie he's wearing. And he's still clearly fidgeting with it in his pocket, but it's in his pocket. And
Decimal will shrug slightly and go back to shuffling his cards.
Yep. I was gonna say, and in true Matthias fashion, for a third time, he goes, "Thank you."
But of course.
I think he just, like, because he doesn't, it's, the two of them don't need to fill the silence. I think he just sits in silence with Decimal for a bit.
Yeah. Honestly. I think, yeah, they're both pretty content to just kind of vibe quietly together.
Mm-hmm. He's fidgeting with the dice. He's occasionally rubbing the hat along his freshly cut hair. There's gears turning in his head, but it's like, clearly he's just thinking. Not of anything in particular.
Decimal is shuffling his cards and thinking about one thing in particular very hard.
Oh.
Although it doesn't really show on his face. This is the second question that Matthias has asked him that he hasn't been able to answer.
Yeah? What was the first, for my sake?
Technically, I guess this was the third because it was two questions. Why Decimal kept going on walks with him?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right, yeah.
He's squinting at himself a little bit, but he can't come up with a satisfactory reason.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna see if Matthias can, like,
It's gonna be
see the gears.
Funny.
Yeah, if he can see the gears turning. Fuck me. Okay. Well, that's a 19 on the dice.
God damn.
Would that
God
be
damn.
would that be an insight, or would that just be like a perception, or because I feel like it would be insight.
It probably would be insight, but let me roll contesting deception really
Okay,
quick.
okay.
I don't think that'll be enough. Your insight modifier's +9, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's enough.
That's a 28
'Cause
on that's a 28 for me.
it's a 26.
Yo!
Yeah. See them gears turning, boy.
Yeah, he does. He sees them turning. And he lets Decimal think for a fair bit. Like, he's not going to ask. But clearly, this thing is, like, whatever he's thinking of, he is not coming to a conclusion on. And
The tell is the increasingly complex shuffles the Decimal starts doing.
yeah. The cards start making noise, more and more noise, and eventually, Matthias kind of glances over and asks, Copper, for your thoughts?
There's a very obvious moment of Decimal biting back a remark like, am I really that cheap? Wow.
Matthias' voice, I don't have a job.
Just biting back the instinctual snark before he, like, gathers his cards together with a very clean, crisp snap.
Mm-hmm.
And goes, I'm trying to solve a problem and not having much luck. It's alright.
Matthias, ever helpful. Maybe I can offer some insight?
This will, like, pauses, opens his mouth, pauses again. Say you knew something was going to happen. And you know that it's going to be bad. What would you focus on?
He... Matthias thinks for a moment. I... What would you focus on, buddy? That's actually a very good question. How bad?
It has a body count.
He kind of nods and then swallows, thinks. I don't know if I might be the most qualified to answer that one. I instinctively and his hand goes back into the hoodie pouch. But you're fucking observant enough, Decimal, to know that he's not holding the dice this time. It's, well, and he pulls out his pocket watch. Lady Retrospect is, often who I turn to for comfort. But lately I've also found that I think of, well, you and the others.
You really need to get better taste. Oh, the others are perfectly fine. I'm not a good role model.
Matthias kind of blinks at that, and he just says, "You base your morals off of those of the others. So you have good morals."
I wouldn't so much call them morals as fetters, personally.
Potato, potato?
I think it's more of a potato-tomato situation myself.
They're still part of the Nightshade family.
That's very true, and I hate that I can't think of a way to refute that.
That kind of dopey grin. It's... You... He clearly wants to say something, but also he realizes it probably is going to sound very bad.
Decimal gestures for him to just say it.
You... You're selfish. You... And he kind of, I mean, again, the dice. You want to keep them, you want to keep the people that are around you around. So you don't do the things that they don't approve of. He kind of shrugs. Yes, it's not your morals, but you're still adhering to morals. So, does it... At the end of the day, the rich man building the orphanage for clout is still building an orphanage.
I've never fucking understood the point of that parable.
Sometimes it's okay to be selfish and do good.
Doing good doesn't necessarily make you a good person, though.
No. That's the point that the parable is. You don't need to be a good person to do good things. But if you still recognize good and bad and choose to do good, even if it is not for a good reason, they're still good things. And they still deserve to be done.
Yes. I'm still not a good role model, because I wouldn't do those things if I didn't know that not doing them would upset certain people.
He's trying to, like, find the right words, and again, it's the 8 charisma, he can't. But he's like... he just kind of shrugs and he says, yes, but that's not the case, isn't it?
But that's exactly the... What?
Matthias is like trying so hard.
He's trying so hard, and I love him so much. But that makes no fucking sense.
Oh man. Matthias, my boy. He's just kind of like, you're really good at knowing what other people think. And I would argue you know your brothers better than anybody. And you would... You do things. Again, he pulls the dice out. Because... And he's trying to think. And he is clearly like the hamster is running as hard as it can in this wheel. You
Ganbare, little hamster.
yeah, ganbate. He you don't I You do things because you know they would approve. That's and you know things that they don't approve of, so you don't do those things. So it's he just kind of like gestures at the air like, I don't know. I am very small.
He's very small, and he has no money.
And no money. What I'm trying to say is, what I would do and what you would do in the situation that you proposed are... And he has to think a minute of... You already know what I would do. And you've concluded that that's not the correct solution. So you're asking what you would do. And again, he kind of like shrugs, because it's like... You've asked a paradoxical question from his point of view. So to speak. Because he's asking, what would you do? Decimal knows what he would do. So it's clearly he's not asking what he would do. He's asking what he thinks Decimal should do. But the correct answer is Decimal's gonna do whatever the fuck he thinks the others would do.
There's like a moment where Decimal kind of like does that advanced math and comes to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of slowly goes, and if that's not an option.
In what way? This is me. Like, what does he mean by, if doing what he would do or what Matthias would do? Which way?
Well, Matthias has come to the conclusion that Decimal's gonna do whatever the fuck the others,
Yeah.
that he thinks the others would do.
Yeah.
What if that is not an option? What if he can't do what he thinks the others would do?
Gotcha. Okay.
Playing so much of the pronoun game right now.
It really is. Matthias he thinks a minute longer. I hate the answer that he's given me because it's fucking stupid. But it's also... Decimal's gonna be mad. I'm sorry.
It is what he'd say.
He just kind of thinks a minute and then he just says, I'd do my best.
Right.
He kind of just thinks, if you can't do what you would normally, and it's a bad situation, you can't really predict that. You can only do the best that you're able and hope.
Oh.
Well, hope's a pretty powerful thing, Decimal. You get an eyebrow raise.
That's not a happy laugh.
Yeah, that's... You get an eyebrow raise.
You know, sitting here now, I can't think of a single time where hope has helped me. I am more of a cynical bastard at heart. But hope is so ethereal. I suppose it's like faith. I don't have very much of that either. You'd know more about that than I would. Praying for some higher power to intercede. I've never understood it.
Decimal, roll me insight.
That's not bad. Gonna add a guidance to that. Thanks.
1!
1! It's not too terrible. It's 27.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That's pretty damn good. You start talking about higher power and all of that, and you notice Matthias gets quiet. And it's not the usual thinking quiet that he does. It's the I'm having a trip down memory lane quiet. And eventually he says, you know, for 2 years I tried and I prayed every day to a goddess who never once responded. It came to a point I started to believe when I was told I had been forsaken. And it wasn't my faith that got me through all of that. It... And he... With Decimal's reaction, it does feel like kind of a little bit like... He understands. He gets, but he just says, it was... Well, it was hope. It... The hope that... I don't know, something would... Something would happen. Anything, a slip. Because if I didn't have that, then that meant he won. And I didn't want him to win.
Stubbornness.
He nods. Hope's a stubborn thing, Decimal.
I think Decimal just sits quietly with that
Mm-hmm.
for a little bit. And then after a moment, he kind of just goes, I don't think it has ever been hope I've been clinging to. You know, it's very funny. I have to laugh. This fucking cosmic joke. Creation of primordial force, woven to be a vessel of this power, turned into a demigod. Atheist as they fucking come. Even upon being the recipient of a divine intervention. It was never about winning or losing. It was never even about survival, really.
Matthias kind of tilts his head, like inviting him to continue.
Was resignation. Resignation that no matter what, that wouldn't be it. It would be fucking terrible, and it was, but I knew that the weave wouldn't let me stay there. Even if I wanted it.
He nods.
Hope is something I don't have. Something I've never had. So I suppose I'll have to take your word for it.
Matthias kind of... He studies Decimal for a minute. I don't think you recognize what hope really is.
It's an eyebrow raise.
And he clearly tries to find the right words, and he comes up short. It's different for everyone, Decimal. It's not just some... It's not concrete. And you've got this idea of what hope is, and it's not a wrong one, but it's incomplete.
Care to elaborate further? Or...
He's clear, like, he is trying so hard. And eventually he says, hope doesn't have to be a passive thing. Shut up, phone.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. Hope doesn't have to be a passive thing. It's... Me wants to get flowery. Matthias doesn't have the charisma for that, and I'm mad about it. You don't... It... It's not just hoping that everything will turn out right. It's not just hoping for help or rescue or anything like that. It's also refusing to give in. And he kind of... I was gonna say he makes a motion like he's gonna tug on his hair, and then... Well, there's no hair.
Vague, frustrated gesturing.
He makes a gesture, and it clearly was meant to grab something. He looks confused, and then he just looks a little more frustrated, but also a little more relieved. And he just, like... And then he goes to run a hand through his hair, hits the hat like, it's... He's trying, and... Whatever he's trying to come up with is just not there, and it's frustrating him. Just, yeah.
Hope isn't just trying to win, it's trying to make the other guy lose. Is that what you're saying?
Hope isn't just wanting to win and hoping to win. Hope is ensuring that they don't win.
Decimal turns this concept over in his mind and kind of nods.
You might not win, but As long as they don't either, that's okay.
Victory and slash or ruin.
He not it's not that's not quite what he's getting, but like there's clear like that's not quite what he's trying to say, and there is clearly so much more to it than that, but he does like he kind of concedes and nods a little bit, yeah.
Matthias, roll insight.
Oh boy. That's cocked. Let's try that again. That could be worse. That's not great though. That's a 7 plus, so that's a 16.
Roll again. You have advantage.
Yay! Oh, I like that number much better.
Because I want you to get this.
Okay.
That's a good sign.
Well, that's a 24 total.
Good. Okay, cool. Decimal chose those two words very deliberately,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not talking about the literal definitions when he says this.
Okay.
There is something else there. There's a reference that you are not seeing.
There. Okay. He sees this and he kind of again angles his head. What is
Did you know there's 9 of us?
Nine?
Well.
What?
Us. As in fates.
Oh, and let me roll a history here. Or religion.
This is actually
religion.
Yeah, religion.
Yeah. Well, let's see if he's got that. Well, nope, he doesn't, no matter what I do, because that was a 5 on the dice.
F.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know.
I mean, it was going to be a high DC no matter what, because this is real esoteric knowledge here.
No, that was a 5 on the dice. He does not get it.
Yeah. So yeah. So no is the answer to that question.
Yeah, no. He did not know that.
There's currently 4 in existence, although it's really more like 3.5 because one of them is locked into the demi-plane.
Blank, blank.
The extant ones are myself, chaos, peace, death, and ruin. Now, you can split the 9 of us along a morality axis of a kind, ranging from most to least chaotic, and then good, neutral, and evil. If you were to put me on this axis, you would slot me into a most chaotic neutral. If you slot in ruin, you get most chaotic evil. If you slot in victory, most chaotic good. You hope for victory, or you hope for the other's loss. Ruin and or victory.
He again, he kind of is like yes, but no. And there's clearly more to it than that, but he doesn't know how to explain it better. And he eventually does kind of he eventually sighs and just says, "It's more than that, but I don't know how to explain It's
I will be perfectly honest, I'm not sure I would understand it, even if you did.
my gut instinct is to say it's the whole grid. But, well,
Now I definitely don't understand it.
think of it like this. The most powerful goddamn thing in the world is hope. You might argue faith, but really, that's just hope. It's all hope.
There is a look of extreme skepticism, but he is holding his tongue out of
Yeah,
respect for what you're saying.
yeah. It's likewise the cruelest thing you can do to someone is to give them hope. And Decimal, he is speaking from experience.
He's trying so hard to compute this very alien idea.
Yeah. He's. The. Imagine. If you will. Something. I just got this analogy and now I'm going to. Well, here we go. We're doing this. Alright, cool.
Oh boy.
Imagine something happened to Gregory. And you weren't sure what the outcome would be. But you say he, I don't know, got injured and everyone was, something was wrong. Something was wrong with him. And everyone was trying to figure out what it was. And it was hurting him. And eventually they're able to identify. We found out where it is, and we think we can fix it. And they sound confident. So you believe them. You trust them. They've given you hope that everything will be all right. And then they come back later, and they say they failed. And that he's gone. After they had assured you everything would be fine.
People would believe that assurance just like that? That's seems irresponsible.
Matthias kind of gives a sad sigh. A lot of people do. Because they want to. Because they want to believe that the world is good. Decimal, he's including himself in that. You don't need to roll. Like, when he says that, like, it's clear he thinks that too.
There has been a realization, that much is obvious, and then he goes, so this is a I very specifically won't ever understand this because I do not think like that thing. Right.
I mean,
I think I understand intellectually what you're saying, but from an emotional standpoint, just kind of raises his hands in a shrug.
and Matthias kind of ducks his head, like, it's not a failing or anything, it's just, different people, different upbringings, different reactions. He kind of shrugs, like, it's not a bad thing. He's trying very hard to convey this isn't a bad thing. It's just a thing. Like,
Yeah. Matthias can see that Decimal going, yeah, no, I don't get this. That's not him like beating himself up about it. That's him going, oh, okay.
yeah.
Files shuffles that away under the folder of things I kind of get but absolutely don't.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yep, he's just like, yep, that's,
Right. Well,
You get a slight head tilt.
vague gesture. You answered my question.
I don't know how helpful it is, but
It is an answer.
he ducks his head and concedes that point. Yes, it sure is.
Sometimes it's not necessarily about how useful an answer is more than it is how interesting the perspective.
Again, he kind of, yeah, nod. He gets that. He lapses into silence again, and yeah, you can kind of see, like, again, the gears turning, filing information, like, everything from that conversation. He is filing it all away into something. You can only assume he has a decimal folder that he is filing it into.
Him and Lynn and probably several other people too.
This is his mental, I have learned things about decimal that I am going to be sure to remember now. And notably, he isn't reacting like they're bad things. He's just learned a thing. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, he's... He just sits and he thinks, yeah, that's... I think, actually... Oh, no, actually. Eventually, he kind of... Yeah. Because it's one of those... He files this all away, and then his brain kind of starts back into the initial what Decimal actually asked question. And he realizes, wait, that was a big question. Wait, hang on, that had some weight to it. Hang on, hold on.
The implications finally hit.
It really did. And he's reclining, and there's like a good couple minutes of just like pleasant contemplative silence, and then Decimal sees his ears like twitch in the I've realized something way, and he quietly, after a moment, goes, is something going to happen?
Decimal doesn't answer right away, which I think in and of itself, is an answer.
It is.
And he goes, I am absolutely the wrong person to be having this discussion with.
He kind of blinks at that. And you get a head tilt.
There is a ongoing situation. It will be coming to a head soon. I have been thoroughly outvoted on how much to say. I'm of the opinion you should know everything. But my truths tend to be blunt and painful. Not exactly the most well adapted of people to be making that decision, so I will bow to common opinion.
That's a 5 on the dice, so Matthias's insight is kind of garbage, but he does at least pick up this is about him, and he kind of he doesn't know how to take that.
I don't know if this makes it any better or worse. But although it's about you, it's not actually about you at all.
The head tilts the other way.
Just... You remember the answer that you gave when you said what you said, and I said, what if that's not an option? You said you just do your best. They're doing their best.
He eventually nods. That's... He is now understanding your point of view, Decimal, because he doesn't like that. You can very clearly see the, I see how Decimal feels reaction on his face. And he just goes, well, I think I get why you didn't like that answer now.
It's not a very good one, but it's the only one that they have.
Yeah, He doesn't like that at all! Damn, he really fucking hates that, actually.
Just... when you do find out, try not to hold it against them too much.
That doesn't exactly ease my conscience. Or my mind. That doesn't actually ease my worries.
Kind of a offhand shrug. If you're looking for comfort, you've come to the wrong man.
I don't know. The look he gives is incredulous, like, well, that's a lie.
Gets to look back at the fuck you mean that's a lie.
The fuck you mean, nuh-uh?
Yeah.
Matthias just kind of shrugs. It's... You... He just kind of... my immediate thought is he just gestures at Decimal, but no, that's not...
The gestures and Decimal just looks even more confused.
Yeah, like, what the
and
fuck?
a little bit offended. Like, how dare you accuse me of being anything resembling emotionally competent?
Right. And he just kind of is... He thinks... And he tries so hard, and he's just like, I find I find your presence comforting. Uh, Decimal, he's turning red. I don't think you realize that, but yeah.
You really have got a better taste.
I, I like to think I have a pretty good judge of character.
Mm. Well, I suppose anyone can be wrong once.
Hey. This is this is a subjective opinion, not an objective one. It can't be wrong.
You have never heard some truly dreadful opinions before.
The look he gives you, Decimal. It is, quite frankly, impressive how quickly deadpan he went.
Matthias, trust me. Even opinions can be just incorrect.
And he kind of. It's that frustrated, yes, I know that, but. Not this time. Actually, yeah. No, he goes, you know what? No, yeah. You say that, Decimal, and Matthias' immediate response is, yes, your opinion is clearly wrong.
Mm. Mm. This look, like, you know that particular kind of scrunched face, like, are you sure about that kind of expression?
Matthias, the look he gives you, Decimal, is an extremely deadpan, like. Matthias. Damn it. Fuck. Damn it. Decimal, you're self aware. But you said yourself you're also an incredibly pessimistic asshole.
I said cynical, actually, but
Cynical.
yes.
Whatever. At this point, it's. And Matthias just kind of, like, makes a vague gesture, like. I'm not the only one who thinks this. And I could prove it to you.
I'm morbidly curious as to see what you'd pull out of your ass.
Phrasing, but, I would, well, I mean, and he just gestures to the wall. Gregory's right over there.
Gregory's also a fucking idiot.
And he's also a pretty good judge of character. Matthias does not know about his tastes. There's also Hugh. And I would assume this March would have a similar opinion.
Hold on, we're going to go back to Craigery a moment. Did you really just call Craigery a good judge of character?
Yes, is that really so surprising?
The man is not a good judge of... He fell in love with someone who turned into a wolf and chased him across rooftops before threatening him in a coffee shop. If I recall one of his stories correctly, he went on a date with someone who stabbed him.
Decimal, you can tell Matthias kind of got lost in his head for a minute when you mentioned werewolf. Because he's just trying to be like, I never heard that story. What? What is this? Who did that? And then his immediate follow-up thought is, he dated someone from Halloween Town? Why? Like, he does not put that it's Lynn. The point is, he's hearing all of these, and it's like, so what I'm hearing is his taste in dates is terrible.
His best friend / sibling is a tiny mouse with a very, very large fondness for blowing shit up. His daughter is a gnome who bites people way too often.
These don't sound like... Does she bite people that deserve it?
I'm genuinely not sure.
Like, Matthias is just sitting here like, the explosion thing just tracks with what he knows with tunes. Like, none of this is sounding like bad. And you can tell Decimal Matthias isn't convinced.
There's a few more examples Decimal could use, but they're all very personal to Craigery, so he is not going to use them.
Yeah, that's fair. They're probably the more damning examples, but it's like, no, and so, yeah. Sorry, Decimal. Matthias doesn't seem convinced.
Decimal just kind of, like, stares at him for a moment before pinching the bridge of his nose and exhaling very tiredly.
My point is, there's at least two that I can for certain say agree with me, and there's several more I can say would very likely agree with me on this thought. And I feel like, in this instance, the majority might be correct here.
Well, I suppose you can think as you wish.
That Matthias doesn't look happy about that answer. New goal unlocked. Make Decimal have faith in himself.
You are asking the atheist to
I
have
know.
faith in a demigod.
I know. I'm well aware. I am exactly aware of what I am asking. incredible.
This conversation has gone so many places.
This conversation is a wreck, and Matthias is just squinting unhappy at Decimal.
Decimal kind of just vaguely gestures and goes, well, as I say. And then doesn't say anything else. Doesn't bother to fucking finish a sentence.
Matthias just kind of like, what does that mean?
It means what it means.
He makes like a go on gesture?
As I say. He's being an obstinate brat now, like...
Decimal, make a dex save.
Oh, Jesus. I need to check if he has disadvantage on these. No, he doesn't. Okay. Doesn't stop him beefing it anyway.
Hey!
11.
Decimal, you get thwapped with a wet towel from Network.
Okay. Alright. Oh my god. Okay. The wet towel thwaps, and then Decimal snags it, balls it up, and whips it at the wall. Where it, like, and sticks. So I rolled to hit, and you rolled a fucking crit.
It's just on the wall, like, stuck there.
Yeah. Bitch.
Hey, that's a child.
It's Lynn's house.
Who is a child?
You think she hasn't heard worse?
That's not the point. Do you want her to throw you out?
She wouldn't dare, I'm injured.
I don't think you want to take that chance.
I'll be right.
The chair you're in starts sliding to the window.
Decimal is entirely unconcerned.
Matthias eventually places a hand on the wall like, please don't, Network.
No, I think you should try. I think it would be funny to watch her fail.
Decimal, please.
There is a smug grin on his face.
I really don't want to have, please, Decimal.
What do you want me to say here exactly? I can guarantee this house has heard worse than a little bitch.
Just... He kind of, like, huffs a sigh as the chair, like, hits the window, like, bumps against the wall where the window is. As your warning of, like, keep pushing, you're gonna get yeeted.
Decimal just sits there insouciant. Insouciant? Whatever.
I'm... Matthias is begging with both house and cartomancer. Like... Network, please. He's doing it on purpose. If you throw him out, he wins.
The smug grin gets wider.
Now I have to think. What would Network do instead?
I think she should throw out. I think it'd be really funny.
one of one of the curtains like billows in his face, like slaps him in the face, and the other one, like, I would say the other curtain, but really it's more just like the whole damn floor just yeep out of the house.
The instant the floor starts to shift, there is a flash of red light, and Decimal is now sat on a bench outside.
Matthias catapults up from the beanbag chair and runs to the window with that, like, network exclamation, and then looks down where he thinks Decimal should be. Blink, blink.
That use?
Blink, blink. Can he see the bench?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You can see the bench from the window. That is actually one of the caveats you have to
Okay.
Actually, no, it's not one of the caveats. You just bam.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's just a casual as you fucking like, fucking bad leg ankle crossed over the other one, arms like resting the elbows on the back of the bench, just smug shit-eating grin on his face, cane loosely dangling from one hand.
How far away is he from Network?
About 60-70 feet.
Okay, cool. So he does not see the look on Matthias's face.
Roll a perception? Probably not. Add a guidance to this because he would.
Mm-hmm. 1.
Really not rolling well for guidance today. That one does not. 22.
You can. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Stretch.
Big stretch.
Big stretch. You see him look at you, and it's hard to discern like his exact expression, but it is surprise. You can see surprise on his face, but I would say probably from that distance you wouldn't be able to roll insight just because he's too far away.
Decimal, like, exaggeratedly bows from where he's sat.
God. The trick here is, you would not have seen Matthias look at Decimal and then just look like surprised, but also angry and upset, like, and not in the actual angry and upset way, but more in the that smarmy smug bastard. How dare he way? And he is, in fact, turning red again, because, yes, Matthias still does have a fucking crush.
It's so good that Decimal's not close enough to see that.
Yeah. He still has a fucking crush on so many people, and Decimal is one of them, and now he's being his cocky, smarmy self, and Matthias is just like, this bastard. He does, however, see Matthias, like, look at him, and then just kind of, like, raise his hands, like, well, now what? Because now you gotta come back in here, genius.
Decimal, like, stands up, strolls over, leaning on his cane, and goes, "I suppose now I shall have to serenade you from the floor."
Matthias chokes.
She didn't get it with a curtain, did she?
What? No.
Most embarrassing way to die.
He just kind of, like, he says serenade, and Matthias says that, what? What? I'm fine. I'm fine.
Are you? Are you sure?
I'm quite fine.
Mm-hmm.
He has that, can you sing? And then there's like that immediate pause, and then he goes, can you sing?
I'm not trained, but I'm not terrible.
He nods. It's admittedly, like, he recognizes this is a Toon stereotype, but so it's one of those, he only really ever knew tunes that could, like, perform in some way, so he kind of, he's trying to, like, this is a stereotype, so he's going to ask and not assume.
Wands don't tend to sing and dance like that. That's more of usually a Frankenaldi thing. Sometimes a Hausen thing.
He kind of thinks about that. And the immediate thought is, I wonder if Gregory can.
No. I don't think Gregory can sing. Kraken will have to correct me, but I don't think Gregory can sing. Kraken, he can try. Just kind of sounds like inviting Gregory to karaoke night is a bad idea.
No, that's the best idea. It's the perfect idea. If you've never gone to karaoke, it's when you can't sing that it's the most fun. I say this from experience.
Morsky thinking like Decimal there.
Yeah.
Loads of blackmail.
Loads of blackmail. But
yeah.
Yeah, the immediate, like, I wonder if Gregory can, but he doesn't, like, he doesn't voice or vocalize or anything. He just kind of, And then he says, are you all right?
I'm perfectly fine.
And kind of deflates on the windowsill.
I was never in any danger. You know that, right?
I recognize that, and in hindsight, it was silly. Closer now, you can see him turning more red. It's creeping into his ears. As he just says, I worried still.
Baffling, but you do you, I suppose. Are you sure you're alright? You're very red.
I'm fine.
Decimal just kind of squints and then shrugs in a, well, I can't make him tell me.
He is so bad at lying, and it's so obvious. But God, he is not gonna say anything about that one. Just get back up here. She just get back up here and rest your leg.
I don't like my chances with the house. It does always win, after all.
I'll go get my coat. Said, spoken to the heavens.
Decimal will meander over to the doorway.
Yep. The curtains are taunting you. But yeah, eventually he in a couple of minutes he does come back. He does open the door down the stairs. And he's huddled into the coat, like it's he's still not, 100%, but hey, you got him outside, Decimal, congrats.
Kara has taken this moment to shuffle that bench over to near where the doorway is.
Oh, perfect.
So it's only like a few steps out of the house before they can sit down.
Oh, perfect. And yeah, Matthias, he isn't even asking where they're going, he's going for the bench. You're gonna
Decimal
rest
will
that.
join him on the bench.
Yep, you're gonna rest that damn leg.
We were over on the bench.
Yeah. He does actually he does eventually ask, because he hasn't yet, and he does kind of mentally have that, oh, stupid, should have asked. But he does say, would healing help with it?
Hugh has learned how to generate a healing elixir, which takes the edge off most days, but some days it's not enough.
He nods. And he kind of holds a hand out, and it glows with that yellow lamplight of his magic. Would you like me to try and see?
Much like how Matthias tensed up when Decimal got the knife out, when Matthias raises the glowing hand, there is that instinctual just stiffening.
Yep.
But he flicks his coat out the way and says, probably don't touch it directly.
He nods. And
Would this be the first time Matthias has seen it up close?
yes,
you think?
probably, yeah. Because they walk together, but he doesn't and he's seen it, but he hasn't made a point to study it or scrutinize it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Matthias has seen Lynn's fray,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a degradation of line art, but this is something different. Cause where Lynn's fray is where her design is giving out, this is where someone has deliberately and intentionally tried to destroy Decimal's line work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Matthias would know Decimal has bad days with his hands, but his hands don't have this same instability.
Yeah.
Versus with this line work, it's very clear. No matter what Decimal is actually wearing on his legs, it will take on this melted quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually am gonna roll just to see if he won't be able to hide it from Decimal, but he's gonna make the effort. Oh wow, that's actually a 17 total. Deception to.
So I need a 5
Yeah.
or higher.
Yeah.
That's a 10.
Yeah. So yeah, you can tell
22.
Yeah, you can easily tell the shocked and he doesn't wince. He actually he manages. He does not wince. He doesn't vocalize or anything like that. It's very medical professional, but also, oh god, he does suck in he does inhale a pretty a sharp breath, and just yeah, it's one of those. He's never seen it up close. That's bad.
Probably doesn't help that Decimal very flippantly goes, it could be much worse. If it were full dip, I'd have lost the whole leg.
I... That doesn't make this better.
No? Oh, okay.
Pointing out the worst option does not make the present one any better or less terrible. It's still bad.
Hmm.
Never mind.
I'm sorry, Matthias!
No.
It's so bad at this!
It's fine. It's not an angry never mind. It's just the... never mind. I don't have the energy to debate you. Not after the previous one.
That's a common... That's a very common reaction to Decimal.
Were it a different day, he would, but no, not today. He does, it's not his whole hand. Like, he doesn't, like, just press his whole palm. It's only, it's just his fingers that he touches to Decimal's knee. And it's... I don't think Decimal would probably not have ever felt Matthias's magic before.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. It's refreshing. It's a cold rain. And it smells kind of faintly. It's not quite petrichor. It's the smell of wet cobblestone. And faintly, as he's, casting just this low-level cure wounds, you do hear the faint ticking of a clock. And then it's literally just a touch, and then it's gone. It's like a flash of all of that, and it's gone, and you get... Hey, cool, nice. That's... What's your modifier?
Or you're using that ability, okay.
No, it's just cure wounds.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's just curing wounds, that's all. Let's say, what ability are we talking about?
I thought you were using the break mend ability.
Oh, no. That... I can math. That's 8 back, so yeah.
We do have a bot that can do math for you.
Yeah, I know. I forget about it. It's fine.
8 points of healing.
Get 8 Heelys back.
8 Heelys for his feelies. It's a shame he can't be overhealed, because then that would bring him up to 90.
Yeah.
It hits, the spell goes off, there
Yep.
is no change.
Yep, no change. But he tried. And then he retracts his hand. Gives that kind of curious tilt of, did it help at all?
No change. But that's not to not be expected.
He doesn't look disappointed, surprisingly. It's more just, it was worth a shot.
Decimal is annoyedly squinting at that terrible English. Not to be not expected. Fucking ugh.
Clearly his first language isn't common. I gesture at Faruma.
Yeah, I mean...
It's whatever the fuck language they're speaking over in Caterdon.
Well, if we're going to the source material, it would be Dutch.
Yes, I know. That's...
Every day I make the decision not to give Decimal a Dutch accent, and y'all should be grateful.
Me quietly. No, give him the accent. Then will you wear wigs? Oh yeah, he does that like, I was worth a shot, and then he sits back on the bench.
Oh, would you look at that?
Hmm.
We went outside after all.
Blink, blink. Oh. I guess we did.
There's probably some poetic, flowery metaphor or analogy to be drawn from this, but I'm not a poet, nor am I a lyricist, so who gives a shit?
And that does earn you. Congrats, you made him laugh.
Decimal smiles.
We're not gonna go. What?
Sorry, Karen.
No, go ahead.
You Karen.
Oh, okay.
I'm just making an offhand comment. You keep going.
He used to say, we're not gonna go for a walk, though.
I think you'd actually take me out of the knee if I tried.
I'd try.
You'd succeed. Kara would help.
I imagine, like, part of the... I imagine there's, like, a little, like, prideful... Something pridefully puffs up nearby, like, yeah, I would.
Yeah, there's like a flag or something that like snaps decisively in a breeze.
Yeah. Just like, oh yeah. Matthias just kind of snorts. He has 2 genius loci on his side.
Well, unless there's anything else you'd like to add, I think that's not a bad place to iris out on.
Yeah, I think so.
Considering, we have been going for almost 3 hours.
God fucking Christ. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Like, goddamn.
Fuck. Yeah, okay.
This FPS went places, dude.
It did, and I didn't expect it.
Neither, honestly.
We wanted to have the boys do things.
Yeah. So we did all the things that we wanted to have them do, and then we just kind of went off on unscripted rambles for like 2 hours.
Because we were just like, yes, good, keep going. We kept
Yeah.
yes-anding.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yes, good FPS.
Yeah.
Let's close the recordings up before we keep going.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.